All right, let's deal with what happened yesterday. We heard Jean-François Roberge, language minister, yesterday in a press conference say this.
Some people say, well, you should apply Bill 101 to CEGEPs. I understand that for some CEGEP, like Dawson, it's difficult, but it's important. If it's difficult, it's because it's important. It's because they have to change. It's not normal to go to a CEGEP here in Quebec and not to be able to learn in French and to succeed in a French test.
Pointing a finger there, obviously at Dawson, but it would seem to me, obviously as well, at the level of French education that children before they get to CEGEP, so in public schools here, are getting, which I think made a lot of people sit back and go, what? Is that fair? What's he talking about? So Joe Ortona, chair of the EMSB, is on the line. Joe, we've spoken about this before, and it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, the EMSB actually takes pride in the level of French it provides to students, doesn't it?
We absolutely do, and the reason for that is because the quality of French that our students receive, is clearly demonstrated in the results. The students who write the high school French leaving exam in the EMSB actually score higher than the students in the French sector. So Mr. Roberge is playing this game where he wants to continue to draw this perception that the English-speaking community is similar to what it used to be in the 1960s. Unilingual, only speaks English, refuses to adapt to anything that is the French language or the French way of life. And, that kind of fear factor and that kind of strategy of division sometimes works, but we have to counter that with facts, and he's just plain wrong.
I want you to repeat what you just said. I wasn't sure I heard that right. You're saying that the level of proficiency in these French exams is higher on the English side than it is on the French side.
The students who write the Français langue maternelle high school exit exam from the EMSB actually score higher than those students in the French sector. Yes, that's a fact. It's a documented fact that the former Minister of Education knows very well, year in and year out, and it just omits that deliberately and never admits to it. But that's the fact, and of course we teach French, and our students are proficient in French. The issue that Dawson is having is not about the students. It's about having to adapt to the instruction materials, the teaching time, the allocation, of the HR implications of having English classes and now more French classes. Their teachers have to be more proficient in French, obviously, if the classes are going to be taught in French. In French, sorry. These are administrative hurdles that Dawson has to face. The students are doing fine. Thank you very much, and no thanks to Mr. Roberge.
So I will ask you, because when I heard that statement yesterday, I kind of rolled my eyes. Did you take that as an assault on what you're doing at the EMSB, what English schools are doing with respect to teaching French, or not?
I do. It clearly demonstrates that he's either intentionally misleading the public about the French that is being taught in English schools, because it's easy to attack the English-speaking community. It's a strategy that they invoke regularly, or he's just completely ignorant about what we're actually teaching, which is also a possibility, by the way, since he's never once visited an English school in all the years that he was the Minister of Education. But they clearly just don't understand our system. They don't understand that we emphasize French. We put a lot of importance on French. We want all of our students to be fully bilingual when they graduate high school. Why? Because many of our students will go to CEGEP in French, or depending on what profession they want to practice, will go to university in French. It's very, very common for English-speaking Quebecers to have some post-secondary education in French. And even if they do their CEGEP in university in English, they will, in 80% of cases, be working in French. So it's very important for us. It's always been a priority. Shame on the minister to just try to put the blame always on the English-speaking community.
Does the government mandate what you do with respect to what you teach in French?
They think they can. That's the funny part, is that, Section 23 management and control means that on matters that are of a pedagogical nature, especially in what touches language and culture, we have the exclusive right to control. And, that's why we have bilingual programs, we have French immersion programs, where from K to grade 2, it's exclusively in English. These are things that we did not that the ministry or that the government ever imposed on English school boards. These are initiatives that we started because we recognized many years ago, decades ago, that the French language was important. I mean, when I went to school and started kindergarten, 36 years ago, the French immersion program existed. It started in the 1960s, well before the Charter of the French language came to be, which was in 1977. So the English-speaking community has adapted, and somehow the government just refuses to acknowledge or give us credit for any of that.
I would ask one thing. I don't know if this is fair or not. So you have the minister basically calling out, Dawson, and you're suggesting that the problem is administrative as much as it is, or more than it is, simply a matter of language. Is it fair, Joe, to ask if the level of that proficiency is, it's one thing to write an exam, right, and do better in the exam than perhaps the French side. Is that French good enough to be able to carry you through studying in French at a CEGEP level?
Well, I think many students have shown that they can be successful in studying in French at a CEGEP level and even at the university level. And by the way, who's to say necessarily that any of the students that are struggling, if they are struggling in French and CEGEP, are coming from the English public system?
Right.
How do we know they're not coming from the French public system? Because up until Bill 96 was amended last year, anybody could go to an English CEGEP without any restrictions whatsoever. So again, he didn't do his research. He has absolutely no analysis or numbers for which to base himself on. He just, spews out these facts, and none of them are real and none of them are accurate.
I wonder how much of this might be predicated on the idea, again, remember the idea the PQ wanted to push Bill 101 or whatever over into CEGEPs. This government held back. You think this might have something to do with them to say, look, it's not working, it's not going well, we have to make the rules tougher?
Absolutely. In fact, Minister Roberge, I read somewhere that he was quoted as saying, the PQ wanted to impose Bill 101 on CEGEPs. Well, we found another way to do it, and here's how we've done it through all of these provisions in Bill 96. So, they're trying to always come up with further measures to sort of show that they're protecting the French language. None of these measures have ever been proven to protect the French language. It's just a facade for them to be able to say, look, we've done something. But really all they're doing is restricting access to the English language. They're, imposing more restrictions on CEGEPs. They're making it harder. They're raising tuition fees. That's all they know how to do, clearly. None of this is going to change anything in terms of the linguistic situation in Quebec, the reality of that, the fragility of the French language. And, we're going to be here 5 to 10 years from now, always having the same discussions as a result of that.
Do you have any worry at all that this is an effort by the government? I realize it's maybe a bit of an unfair question, to eventually be able to say, you know what, we don't need English CEGEPs at all. It's not working, so forget it.
What can I say? I mean, if it ever got to that point, I would like to think that it wouldn't get to that point. But if it ever got to that point, I mean, add on a couple of more court challenges to the ongoing court challenges that we've had to have as an English-speaking community to defend our rights.
Fair enough. Joe, always appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Joe Ortona, chair of the English Montreal School Board. To me, that is the number. I mean, when I heard him say that, I thought, wow, that wasn't even mentioned at all, right? It's this idea that when the minister talks about the fact that, kids are not doing well in Dawson learning French now with the program having been expanded, automatically the assumption is he's talking about English students. And then you hear the chair of the board saying, by the way, and these figures are there, they're available, and the minister knows this. They're doing better in English on a French exam than the French kids are doing on a French exam. So where's the real problem? It's the one the minister doesn't want to talk about.